Good evening again, uh, Kkrakk fans. I figure, it's been 8 years, so let's do Doctor Strange Part 4. I put some links down in the description of videos from 8, 9 years ago, um, where I was talking about the Doctor Strange series. The intention at that time was to kind of read entire what's called Volume 2. Sorry, excuse me. And just talk about the stories going through the series, looking at art. I had started that. As with many things, you get sidetracked and you start doing other videos, having other conversations, reading other books. But I figured now is the time because I've just finished reading a 4 issue run from Strange Tales, issue 136, 137, 138, and 139. Is that right? Or was it 135, 137, 138? Yeah, 139. So 136 to 139. And it's the part of the arc where the Ancient One is severely wounded, and Doctor Strange goes on the hunt for eternity that the Ancient One keeps mumbling about, and tries to find information by going to visit other mystic gurus, and finally finds a way to uh, figure out how to locate eternity so he can get some extra power to defeat Mordo and Dormammu. And I loved it so much. And there was a couple of issues, especially 137 and 138, where a lot of fantastic stuff happens. And it really just encapsulates what it is that I love about this series so much. So I thought we'd take a look at them. I have this out because there's just a couple of things we'll look at here. So this is the essentials. So it's all the black and white stuff. And the first thing we'll just look at is back in, what do we have here? Back in issue number 132. So leading up to this, just a little bit of a backstory for people who don't know. I mean, Dormammu and Mordo were kind of Doctor Strange's first, along with Nightmare, his first kind of major foes that he battled for a long time throughout these early Strange Tales. There were some side stories here and there. There was a couple of stories here and there where he'd go and check out other things, but that was one of the main battles. And Mordo and Dormammu, no, you don't have to watch the other episodes. No, it's a perfect jumping on point. Uh, this will just be a mini series. It'll be fine. It won't be an Elseworlds tale, but yeah. Um, so them being so once Mordo and Dormammu kind of got together, and Dormammu kind of feeds Mordo with a bunch of his own power to make him even stronger. He just lays waste to the Ancient One and Doctor Strange. So as the Ancient One is healing, my loyal disciple cannot battle Mordo and Mordo's new ally alone. He needs help. Eternity, eternity. You must rest, master. You must not tire yourself. True, I'm too weak and ill, and yet eternity. If only Strange could know of eternity. Ah. So those panels there, as he's kind of in and out of consciousness, he talks about eternity, and he keeps mentioning this eternity. What's that about? So it's this mystery that was building. Hello, Tylox. All the way back to issue 132. And his appearance doesn't happen until 138, right? Let me just look as I have everything laid out here. Yeah, so 138. So we get a good kind of stretch. Fast forward to issue 134, and same thing. So he's still kind of in his coma, and he's mumbling about eternity. And Doctor Strange, who's kind of left his host body, has kind of come through the planet to go and see the Ancient One and see if he can kind of help heal him with the Eye of Agamotto. Hello, AFPC. How you doing? Um, and I mean, classic Ditko is right. It feels like throughout this, even looking through this book and looking through the issues themselves, even within this run, his art just improves and by leaps and bounds. You know, not that it was ever really bad, but there's a couple of things. Clea, especially, there was a couple of images of Clea in here. Let's see if I can find one where just kind of her look wasn't as polished early on. Yeah, I won't be able to find it. It's fine. But it starts to kind of get even better as he goes through the series. And there's also so many moments that later when he did the Shade the Changing Man over at DC, which is another phenomenal little read because it really feels like the stuff that's happening in Shade the Changing Man and the world and the look of the characters, it feels like they're very close cousins of one another. So in 134 here, Clea helps Doctor Strange in his fight against Mordo by releasing the Mindless Ones to distract Dormammu, so he has a bit of a fighting chance. So that's kind of where we're at within this story. So that's the black and white stuff there. And then we'll jump into have a closer look at these 4 issues. I won't do much comparing. We'll just look at them. A couple of these are, because they were cheaper copies, they're not in the best shape, so I'm going to have to be a little gentle. So issue number 136 with a beautiful subscription crease down the middle. I love stamps. I love people that write their names on and in their books. I love the subscription creases. I love when I can find books that are still in pretty decent shape and mostly together, that have obviously been loved. Dormammu and Nightmare are very cool. Hello, G. Marvel never capitalized enough on them for my taste. Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling that we might see Nightmare pop up in a Doctor Strange movie, which again, from even the first Doctor Strange movie, the way that they did the visuals in Dormammu's realm and really had a direct link right to Ditko and his art. It was just so fantastic. And I really hope that they utilize the CG and the special effects, especially when we look at stuff like this. It would be fantastic to see some of this translate onto a big screen. So right here we have kind of, as Doctor Strange is looking for some information about eternity, he's traveling around in his kind of spirit form, trying not to use any sort of magic, not to use anything, because Mordo is keeping an eye, basically, and his minions across the globe to see if they can track him, and they're looking for traces of magic as they kind of keep a close watch, because Doctor Strange has to be destroyed, and the only way we can find him is by focusing all our powers on his use of magic. So the Doctor goes from kind of person to person. A really nice moment here as well. He goes up to a woman's house. You, who saved my life many years ago, and there's an asterisk. And one of the rare occasions, I've never seen it, remind us to tell you about it sometime. Stan and Steve. So reference to a little bit of a nugget for maybe a story that gets told later. I don't remember, or I'm not sure. I haven't read everything yet. But so he goes and sees these other mystics to talk about eternity. And there's one individual in a dank, shadowy cave in a section of the Far East where few Occidentals have ever dared venture. The countless years have brought madness to the aged Genghis. I must choose my words with care. To which he says, I know everything, and I know of eternity. And check out this guy, if it'll focus there. There we go. I love all the hand gestures, the body movements and placements, just the angles that even the people stand in the Ditko stuff. So he thinks he's found a link to where he can find eternity. He goes to this other realm where he finds someone trapped and encapsulated, blinded and shackled and strapped to a surface where he can't see anything, and he knows that there's somebody there. Turns out that he is the demon himself, so he takes the mask off him, and instantly, as soon as Doctor Strange looks into his eyes, they kind of swap bodies. So now this demon that was trapped is now in Doctor Strange's host, or not his host, sorry, his spirit, his astral form, I guess. And he's made to look like a version of Frankenstein. A little bit of mental prowess ensues, and again, this is kind of starts to touch on some of the stuff that I love with these Doctor Strange stories. It's not always these physical fights, although there is some physicality in this one here, especially with his cloak. But it's a lot of kind of these psychic blasts and just these still panels of Doctor Strange looking serious and thinking what he's going to be doing to tell us what he's going to be doing. It's just an incredible use of the superheroes. So, of course, everything goes in his favor and he's able to escape. He finds out that that's not the realm after all, so he goes on to continue his search, and he decides he's going to probe the Ancient One's mind to see if he can find more information from the Ancient One about eternity. And the next issue is where the visuals get even better, so we'll check that out here. Those weird curvilinear fluid geometrics that were Ditko's signature are so satisfying to look at. They really are, and it really is his own thing. I mean, people talk about Kirby and his dynamic poses, which are incredible, but there's something, I don't know, liquidy and fluid about Ditko's characters. And when we get into one of the issues, when we see kind of the big battle, or a part of the big battle anyway, you'll see more of that. So in this one, the staples have popped from some of the middle pages, so I'm just going to be a little more gentle here. So we're looking at issue 137 here now. And I'm sure all the Nick Fury stuff is incredible. It just holds no interest for me, so we'll stick with this here. So, I mean, that image says it all right there. So the Ancient One is unconscious and isn't really aware of his surroundings, but he still has kind of this mental blockade, so nobody can get inside his mind and take control or find out information. So the Doctor is kind of he's resolved to find information about eternity, so he can gain whatever power eternity can give him, to be able to defeat Mordo and Dormammu. Here we go. These ones are loose too. So just by the use of color and some lines there, we get him trying to communicate, trying to dig in the Ancient One's mind, and finding that even though the Ancient One is kind of on death's door, he's still incredibly powerful. I mean, these images are unbelievable, just unbelievable. Just the colors, everything about it is really fantastic. So he can't get in. Let's see if I can do this. I think the next pages are more solid here. The staples go through. So he just keeps trying, and we just have a couple of pages of him with some narration and thinking to himself. It's so strong that his third eye closes and completely leaves his body. That's how strong the Ancient One is. So he decides to try another tactic, and goes in again. But the Ancient One, still being strong, has just sends out this almost net, this mesh that you see across his face, to stop him to completely trap him. And I mean, this is the thing that just can't be captured with reprints and recoloring. The yellowed paper, the smell of the comic, the way the colors have saturated the paper over all of these years, the way it sits on the paper just to begin with, the very limited palette, the color palettes that they had at their disposal. It just, I can't. The recoloring stuff just really drives me nuts because this is just so pleasing seeing all this. And here, the couple of pages that I absolutely loved from this entire issue. So again, not giving up, wanting to take one more chance, wanting to take one more shot to get into the Ancient One's mind, to find out what it is that what secrets lie in there. And then we get this gorgeous, gorgeous page with these just crazy lines. So now the Ancient One has control of Doctor Strange's mind and is having him hallucinate. So he doesn't know what's going on. He's not aware of his surroundings. And he's really just trying to hold on to his sanity and push past it. This middle panel here is fucking incredible as his fingers curl up and his foot curls over. Part of him kind of trapped in this dream, and part of him still 1 foot in reality, literally. Man, I'm really sorry, people. I wish I had a better camera and lighting set up here. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you get the picture. Gorgeous. And when I was reading this earlier tonight, it was this page that I just stopped in my tracks and was instantly reminded of why I love these stories. Earl Grey was talking about it in our chat this afternoon as he was reading some Moon Knight, and he was talking about there was a fight in there, you know, having Moon Knight get into a physical fight, and he just didn't understand why. Why would you do that with these kind of mystical and magical characters? Have them just have a basic superhero fight, especially when you have stuff like this to compare to. I'd have to agree with him, although I do understand it's a different story. So breaking out of that trap, he decides he's going to try one more tactic, and he's just going to communicate to the Ancient One and just tell him who he is and not to worry, and I'm here with you, basically. And that finally lets him break through. Let's see. So that lets him break through. Low light, shitty glasses, far away from the screen. Hopefully that's in focus. And they're finally able to communicate, and the Ancient One finally tells him a spell where he can go and see eternity. So, and look at this look of just absolute, just contentment on the Ancient One's face. It's really, it's something, man. The relationship that they have throughout this, and then later on the relationship he has with Wong, in that Brian K. Vaughan miniseries that I read, really kind of focuses on that relationship especially, and it's fantastic. Teacher to student, father to son type of relationship. Really great. So because this spell is going to be so powerful, he wants to get away from any human beings. So he goes and literally finds a mountaintop where he's gonna stand and kind of cast this incantation to go and see eternity, so he doesn't injure anybody else. But of course, as soon as he casts that spell, he creates a doorway, and just as he's going through, Mordo catches wind of it because they're monitoring and gets there just a split second too late and sees him, the door closing behind him. So he's just too late, and that's where we leave off this one. Let's see what I've missed. Yeah, incredible visual storyteller, no doubt. Created new visual narrative tools with Doctor Strange, absolutely, and just introduced a whole bunch of new elements to mainstream comics. The Epic Collection Volume 1 just got reprinted, but those are mostly recolored, so probably won't be as awesome, sadly. Yeah, no, I absolutely, I can't imagine they would be. Honestly, I would say that if you can find it, like I was saying before in one of the streams, this one is really great to have. It's really nice to be able to sit with the black and white. Let's see, maybe we can have a, let's take a quick sidestep before we get into the Eternity one and just look at some of those panels with the Doctor and the Ancient One. So here's the black and white of that title page there. I mean, the color really does add to it. It is nice to just see the line work and see what he had on the page. Stuff like this works very well in black and white. Just seeing those elements there, but the color does add a different dimension to it. We'll have a look where he's hallucinating as well too, but that's beautiful. I mean, even like I've said before, even with these cheap black and white reprints, you're still getting some phenomenal work there. You're still seeing it really, really nicely in this collection. The lines aren't too blown out. They're not, well, actually, they're sharper than I give it credit for. Let's see, here we go. And here's that page there where he was trapped and hallucinating. And that one there with one foot still in reality. And his fingers curling and his toes curling. Just a very light line work on there, letting the coloring do most of the work in the actual comic. And there he goes there to the mountaintop. We'll put a bookmark in there. Let's do that because then we'll revisit. Let's see, Gorvidal, how are you? What I remember about that storyline is Eternity's advice to Strange that the secret to defeating Mordo and Dormammu is wisdom and outwitting his foes. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. He goes in search of some magical spell or some physical object that's going to help, and basically told that he already has the tools to defeat Mordo and Dormammu. And later Clea's anguish when she watches helpless as Doctor Strange battles Dormammu. It's amazing. Remember Roy Thomas saying that around the Marvel office, Doctor Strange was dismissed as a little strip, nothing special. From this vantage point, it's the only one that's still readable. Yeah. Have volume 1 of Doctor Strange, but an earlier edition. Okay. An earlier edition of this black and white Essentials or another collection? Okay, and then we get into, for my money, again, there's a few characters that have been created in comics that just the design of them alone blows me away. Eternity is probably my favorite character of all of those. I think it's an incredible idea, visualized really, really well. It's a striking figure to see on the page, especially if you play with the page layouts and the sizes of the people that are surrounding him, or what form he chooses to take, what size. Really, really amazing. So this is it, issue 138. I think this, yeah, the staples in this one are good, so we should be fine with this one. And again, Ditko's beautiful right off the bat. And pretty much it was this kind of layout here that was used in the Doctor Strange movie. Not exactly that, but a lot of those shapes and a lot of those designs was really, really great. So if Eternity should fail, and we start off with the good doctor on the hill, or on the mountain rather, traveling through to the other dimension and disappearing. Beautiful 3-panel page there. But this is it. Brace yourselves, everybody. I hope. Consider this 420. So have yourself a smoke, and then we'll enter Eternity's realm here. So he starts to travel. There's a star beside him that starts um, leading you through this realm until he comes across this kind of cosmos in a star, which starts to transform into eternity, starts taking shape, taking the image of a man, taking the form of a man. And then we flip the page and we have full-blown eternity. I just can't even imagine. I mean, I don't remember the moment that I first saw this, but I do, because every time I see the character, I have pretty much the same reaction of just amazement. I can't imagine at the time reading this book, if you were into it, if you were some of the college kids, some of the heads who would have been into it, I guess, reading this and seeing this imagery. I can't imagine. It's fantastic. There's a later issue as well too, where Eternity and Dormammu are battling, and there's two kind of full page spreads side by side. We'll do a video once I fill in a couple more gaps and keep reading. We'll do another video in the future where we look at some of those too. But that's gorgeous stuff. Oh man, forget it. Yeah, there you go. This the classic Doctor Strange pose there. I feel like I've seen that image all over the place. And look at this beautiful panel. That a bit closer so it focuses better. Really just incredible. And they talk, basically, Eternity tells him that nobody speaks in his presence. Eternity will speak. You'll just listen. You're a disciple of the Ancient One, the only other human that's ever met me face to face. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to kind of probe your mind to see if your intentions are pure, basically. Finds out that they are, and then disappears, sort of leaving Doctor Strange hanging and just thinking to himself. And not really sure what to do. Am I destined to be forsaken here forever? He feels like he's just going to be stranded there forever. You'll now return from whence you came. There are world-shaking matters I must attend to. As for the power you desire, it must be denied you. You already possess the means to defeat your foes. Power is not the only answer. Events have occurred which require a key, and wisdom is that key. Now depart. I shall say no more. It's great. Yeah. Try to peek around the corner so we can see what we're looking at here. So back out onto the mountaintop, and is not really sure what to do, but he knows that it's coming to a head. Back now to see the Ancient One, and finds out that Mordo and his henchmen were there, and they've kidnapped the Ancient One and brought him to Dormammu's realm, basically to call out Doctor Strange. We found you now. Enough of this running around. You come and meet us face to face, or the Ancient One is done for. Dormammu on a TV screen there, hanging out in Mordo's pad, while the Ancient One just kind of slumped over in a chair, waiting for what'll extend over a few issues, their final battle. Well, I shouldn't say that. Their final battle for now. Anyway, never any final battles. And of course, Clea, helpless. There we go. That's the end of 138. Why don't we have a look in the essentials and have a look at that black and white version here. So there we go. There's the realm itself. Seems like the black and white focuses a lot easier than the color, unless that's just my eyes. And flip the page. And there we go. There's Eternity manifesting himself. And then the full page spread. Come on, there we go. That's better. Excellent. Let's see. What did I miss here? Yeah, it is a good point there, Zesty. All the others you have to put up with Stan Lee's writing. And that's really true, because I mean, I find that his writing is actually really good in this. I don't mind it because he's trying to just come up with these terms. You know, there's a lot of repetition for sure, but I find that his kind of faux mysticism works really well for this strip. I think it's great. Despite his originality, Ditko's stuff is always so serious, almost sad and regretful. Not many laughs with Ditko, no. Both his Spider and Strange are kind of sad and smashed by the weight on them. Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking of tonight while reading them, it really is because it's all this internal struggles and these mind over mind. There really is this, it just makes me think of like Ditko as a man, having maybe his own internal struggles and battling with his mind as far as like, you know, just this kind of force to do good and a force to do evil, and having this little kind of battle inside his own soul, or whatever you want to call it, right? So simple and effective character design, absolutely. What I found fascinating was Clea's role. Strange doesn't even know her name, but she knows his name and is unknowingly falling for him. The search for Clea then follows, absolutely. And then finally for this video, we'll have a look at 139. Like I said, the visuals, 138 and 137 were really where it was at for this particular part of the arc. But we'll just kind of finish us off here with 139 and have a quick look. Let's see. So beware, Dormammu is watching from his monitor from the other dimension. Get Doctor Strange again with, this time, not his usual hands. He's ready to kick some ass. And Mordo and Dormammu kind of taunting him, and, you know, poor old Ancient One just kind of hanging out and slumped over as the Doctor comes to his side. Yeah, these are great panels here too. I love this panel. Doctor Strange there with the shadow of his cloak on his face. Yeah, not much else to say. It's just a lot of kind of egging him on as they're kind of quietly talking to each other. You know, about the Ancient One saying, "You've been like a son to me, and you do have the power, and I'm going to try my best to help you. He possesses the same knowledge, the same training as you. As for me, weakened by illness, I cannot hope to equal the power of Dormammu. Where they employ power, you must employ wisdom, the wisdom of the just, the righteous, the fearless. By the hoary hand of Hoggoth, I shall not fail thee. Mordo, thou mastery of treachery, I stand ready." And then again, we get some Amazing. So then we just get a fight that's just pure kind of magical blasts, and stuff like whoops, which side am I on here? Stuff like this is great. Like there's that body stance, there's that shape with those hands out behind him. Just really great poses, fantastic poses, and even beside here too, is one hand low, one hand high, still sporting the devil horns, although it looks more like a shadow puppet configuration there with blasts of energy. And we just get a few pages of that, basically. A few pages of stuff like this. As Dormammu and Clea looking just frantic, wondering what the hell to do, how to help him, what's going to happen. And one of the things that the Doctor is able to kind of sneak by as he sneaks across a very kind of basic spell to have Mordo hallucinate that there's two Doctor Stranges now, that he's learned how to separate his astral form from his body and have them both attack. But Dormammu can see through it from his realm through the TV screen that Mordo is now wasting some of his energy fighting a foe that's not there. So starts him to gets him to focus again. Hello, good people. You too, Gore. Hello, Scott. How's it going? Yeah, Mordo. Sorry, I saw that here. No, not Droom. That's Mordo. Yeah. And back and forth we go. And again, like I said, the Ancient One is trying his best to give Doctor Strange some extra power too, but Dormammu really has Mordo's back, and it's a struggle just for Doctor Strange to kind of keep up. And this ends kind of part one of the battle. Dormammu's now fed up. He's done with watching from this screen. He's now going to enter their realm, or at least that's what we think. And there's this flash of light as Dormammu either comes into where they are, or I'm assuming kind of takes them away. I don't remember what happens in the next issue. And that's where we leave it for this battle. Amazing, amazing stuff. Let's have a quick look. What can we see from the essentials there? Here we go. Let's have a look at some of these battle poses here. Yeah, here we go. And here's the black and white of some of that stuff. It's great. Probably one of my favorite panels there. And again, just this idea of in the Doctor Strange stuff, or at least in these ones that we've looked at, there are a number of shots where it's the back of his head, and you're not really seeing his face all the time, which also would have been a thing, I imagine, as far as not seeing your main character in always that kind of hero pose every single time you see him. It's these unusual angles and different poses that just really would have stood, or still stand out. What am I saying? Would have. They still stand out even now. There's the rest of that there. So what do we have next? Next will be 140, one of the issues that I'm missing. So I'm creeping up. It feels like now that these are on my radar, they're popping up all over the place. It's just trying to find some good prices on them. I saw a couple of more issues today at 204, but they were pretty pricey. They were really, really nice condition, but they were just a little too much, like around the $25-$30 price point for each of them. And it's just nothing that I want to spend right now. Not to say that I never would to get nice copies, but nothing that I could afford right now. So I let them go, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what we find out there. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed that. It's just when you read something like that, because I've been reading Doctor Strange now for quite a while and just kind of dipping my toes in here, it's really nice to have a nice, even if it is a short run of the Strange Tales stuff, just to really see in those original comics and you know, just kind of get a sample of um, what that stuff was like when it was coming out. So thanks for hanging out and sharing that. Nice to see you all. And yeah, if you're up to it, check out those old videos. They are really freaking old, though. That camera that I had is noisy as all hell. But if you're so tempted, have a look at some of those. All right. Thanks. Talk to you later.